Vassar had even made it to his pit box. Did you short fuel him?
Really, I'm not working with Andre's car. I'm working with Adrian, but you know, Lola have done a lot of work on the car for this weekend, and obviously they've made some gains. It's a little late in the season, but you know, both cars are working good, and we're just trying to be a little conservative right now.
And Adrian must be driving his heart out to be able to keep that Lola going as well as he is and sticking with the rain out of Andre.
Yeah, we're actually telling him to slow down a little bit. I think he feels the car is very good. We're obviously concerned a little bit about the tyres, and actually the ambient temperature is very, very hot, so we're trying to go as slow as we can, to be honest.
And we need to congratulate you on yesterday clinching the Indy Lights Championship. Can you tell us what the prospects are for 1998?
Well, yeah, we had a great day, first and second in the Lights Championship. We signed Christian D'Amato and Art and Dare to drive for us next year, and you know, keep on rolling.
All right, well, we'll keep a close eye on your two guys. Good luck to you today.
Thank you.
Steve Horn, of course, the owner of the Tasman team, running both Andre Ribeiro out in front, Adrian Fernandez in the Lola in second. Back to you, Ben.
Well, Guy, he was in second, but he's just been passed by Gilles de Ferran. So de Ferran has now gone up to second place, and Fernandez back down to third, and he's now coming under some increasing pressure from Jimmy Vassar and the boys, who are closing up behind.
Yeah, Greg Moore there in fifth place, having taken advantage of that yellow flag, and Maurice, the two Pac West cars of Blundell and Gougemin right behind them as well. So we've got plenty more racing here. We've got 135 laps in the books, and 31.5 last time around for Andre Ribeiro. That's a lap speed of about 231 miles an hour.
So he's going very quickly indeed. There's the gap back to second place man de Ferran, third place man the green and white car of Fernandez. But this really is the race of the year from Adrian Fernandez. Still some doubts as to whether he'll be with Tasman Motorsports next year. A little bit of changing around, but perhaps he will be, perhaps he won't. It still ought to be clarified, and unlike perhaps in Formula One, where the driver situation seemed to be sorted before the year's finish, here in the kart series, often many of these decisions are taken over the closed season, and we find out during the months of December and January exactly where all the drivers will end up. But Fernandez doing a great job up there at the moment, third place, and Jimmy Vassar bearing on down on him in fourth. But look at this, this could be the loss of third place for Adrian Fernandez. Vassar in the Ganassi car has now got himself hooked up nicely. He struggled with a blistered tyre a little bit earlier on, but they may have got the handling of this car a little better now, and he seems to be able to close up to Fernandez and try and get past. Down towards turn one they are now.
And Mauricio Gougemin in the pits that time around, so he will fall back off the lead lap. I think he is on his way again now, but he will not be on the lead lap, and we're now back to 6 cars on the lead lap once again.
Look at Greg Moore, he's having a go as well, and now Jimmy Vassar goes for Adrian Fernandez, gets that third place. So Vassar now goes chasing after Gilles de Ferran and Andre Ribeiro, and it's not that big a gap, it's about 5 seconds between race leader and Jimmy Vassar. On board now with Gilles de Ferran, who is 2.7 seconds behind the race leader, and just consistently lapping, looking after his Goodyear tyres, and showing that they are pretty much on the pace with the Firestones, at least on his car. They're doing a fine job at the moment, and remember, Goodyear tyres worked extremely well on the oval tracks earlier on this year. Bear in mind they were smaller oval tracks. Look at this, Greg Moore going past Fernandez, and Robbie Gordon trying to sort of get a lap back, because he's down in 13th position, but Gordon's flying at the moment, and he nearly took advantage of Greg Moore going past to get past the Canadian himself. Bobby Rahall's now going past Fernandez, and now Fernandez really is beginning to drop back.
Yeah, Fernandez clearly struggling there and not able to run the same pace, even close to what it is before. There's Gougemin in the back of that group, flying up behind there, the car, the red car, which would be, quite sure to be well done, Jimmy Vassar.
Just looking down there, it looks like it is Jimmy Vassar, yeah, as they come round. So Jimmy Vassar running in third place overall at the moment, and or is it Christian Fittipaldi? Maybe Christian Fittipaldi,
yeah. Fittipaldi. And he's back in 8th place there, running well, not far behind Bobby Rahall there. But the race leaders, Andre Ribeiro, another 31.9 that time around. That's just about 228 miles now, 2.3 seconds the gap over Gilles de Ferran, another 4 seconds back to Jimmy Vassar. There is Adrian Fernandez, he's back in 6th place now, and not running close to the speeds he was running just a little while ago.
So, Andre Ribeiro, 2.3 seconds, then de Ferran, Vassar, Moore, Blundell, Fernandez, Rahal, Fittipaldi, Gougemin and Michel Jourdain. That's our top 10 at the moment. The cars are running pretty reliably. We've had a good long section of green flag racing, and it's Ribeiro who's controlling things so far. battles throughout the field, but mainly battles for getting past back markers as you watch from on board with Jimmy Vasser. And that third place that he holds is coming under increasing pressure from Greg Moore now as they get up onto the back stretch. Greg Moore right behind Jimmy Vasser. It's still Andre Ribeiro and Gilles de Ferran who have around about 5 seconds advantage over these two. So the battle for third here, it has dropped back a little bit behind the two leaders, and then behind these guys, Mark Blundell still running competitively. Again, Mark's another one who seems to be pacing himself, not doing anything too silly in the early stages of the race, staying pretty much up with the leaders. And 5th place for Mark Blundell is fine, I think, at this stage in the game. Remember, he finished in 2nd place in Michigan after another very sensible, consistent run towards the flag, and that's what he's doing here, holding on to 5th. Adrian Fernandez 6th, Bobby Rahal 7th, Christian Fittipaldi in 8th, and just look at this little gaggle here as they get past Parker Johnston. Johnston in the green and white car up on the outside. Greg Moore just cutting past him on the inside as they come out of turn number 4. Not giving him an awful lot of room, but just about enough space for Parker Johnston to come out safely.
Parker Johnston in 15th place and 4 laps down on the leaders at this stage in the game. We've got 102 laps to go, 148 in the books. There is the Jimmy Vasser car, and all sorts of dicing down the back straight. There's Jourdain being passed by Jimmy Vasser. That is not 4 position. Jimmy Vasser is in 3rd place, and Michel Jourdain Jr. is actually a couple of laps down now, but it's still running well in 10th place ahead of Scott Pruitt and PJ Jones.
Yeah, Jourdain definitely lost ground in this race once the pit stops started to be made. It doesn't look as though they've come up with such a good setup on the car from the first pit stop, and indeed losing a bit of time in the pits themselves. So after that heroic first stint, if you like, when he was right up there running in 3rd place at one stage, he now has rather dropped down the order and not lapping at the same sort of pace as the more experienced guys. And you can sort of see how they've worked on getting their cars to run properly and to gradually pick up pace.
There is Andre Ribeiro. Meanwhile, his teammate Adrian Fernandez, look at those blisters on that right rear tyre from Adrian Fernandez's car. We saw how much he was struggling. He was lapping in a 33-second range, a couple of seconds away from the leaders. Oops, a problem there for the pit stop for those guys. So Andy Jones and crew getting the car back. He's obviously stalled the engine there. They get the starter in the external starter, try and get it fired back. It's a hot engine, it's tough to get it going again. There he is, Adrian Fernandez, with a long pit stop, and look at that tyre, those blisters.
That is in bad shape, isn't it? That's the right rear of Adrian Fernandez's car, and tyre wear and tyre blistering is obviously going to be quite an issue in this race. Greg Moore makes his next stop, try and get away cleanly. This is where the concentration, getting the car out without stalling it, very important, and of course very easy for the driver to just lose concentration for a little while. He takes a bit of a breather as he comes into the pits, and it's all too easy to just stall it a little bit too quick, letting the clutch up. It was interesting that how Ari Lyondike was saying earlier on, it's something he's had to get used to in driving these cars, and suddenly coming back into this series, different to the cars he's been racing this year. They're actually quite hard to get off the line, and it's not that easy for these guys to pull away smoothly out of the pit lane.
No, it's not, and they've they have a lot less horsepower than they had when Ari was driving these cars. Before they had 45 inches of boost then, and that equated a good 100 horsepower. Admittedly, much of that has been gained back by the engineers, but they're still not quite the acceleration, the torque off the line or away from a standing start they have to make after these pit stops. At the same time, of course, they've got to take care of the gearboxes on these cars. They can't afford to go crashing through these gears. We found out in Michigan a lot of teams did to their costs there.
Looking at the fuel window now, and you can see that we're quite a long way off the fuel window for the likes of Ribeiro, de Ferran and Vasser. Mark Blundell slightly closer. They're doing about 35 laps to a pit stop, so that's the amount of fuel that they can carry. But of course, as ever, the yellow flags make quite a difference on that, and if there's another incident, then we could see early stops. It looks as though Mark Blundell actually is going to be coming in fairly soon, so a little different to what we saw on that graphic. It looks as though Blundell may be coming in fairly early now.
Yeah, well, of course, those two, Guzman has already been in the pits earlier on as well. He's lost some ground after that last yellow. There comes Mark Blundell into the pits. He, of course, stopped right before that last caution. So the leaders will be able to go a little bit farther here. That will be Ribeiro and de Ferran and Jimmy Vasser, and they will probably regain that lap that they pulled out earlier on, as these guys have to make their pit stops somewhat earlier than the other three cars.
So Mark Blundell takes a breather, takes a drink, and then has to get himself focused back in, gets rid of that pretty quickly, throws that out the way. The water sprayed onto the refueling area of the car, and that was a nice clean stop from the Pac West crew once again. This crew that has gelled so well during the 1997 season, fantastic to see it. Great to see how Mark's recovered from those injuries in Rio last year, and how he's really fitted in to the team and built a team up around him now, with Alan McDonald coming in there as well. And they all seem to work together. There's a great spirit in the camp as well, which is great fun. They have a lovely time, I think, of it most of the time, and I think that atmosphere helps in terms of getting good results.
Yeah, and Butch Winkle is the crew chief on that car. Butch has been around a lot. He worked with TWR in the Jaguar days, and when they were running here in the IMSA series, and Butch has been around the block a time or two. He's a great guy. He has a lot of fun, and it really is, as you say, a very close-knit team there, and they're working so well together. And Mark Blundell is driving now. He's back to his top confidence, on top form, and we're seeing what the guy can do. He's tremendous on just about every type of circuit that this series races on.
Yes, he is. He's across the board. He's taking a victory on a road course. He's taken a victory on a street course, and he's just got to take one on an oval now. And he's running well here at the moment, not taking too many risks, and just staying out of trouble. But he is a little bit down on the leaders. We've got to wait to see the other leaders coming into the pits, and in fact Andre Ribeiro is heading for... Is he heading for the pits? No, not yet. He's still got a little bit to go. As you mentioned, Jeremy, he was a bit later with his last stop. Richie Herney was just going past there, and Richie seemed to be going pretty slowly. He's down in 16th place at the moment. Yeah,
Richie's been struggling. That car is not happy. He's not been happy all weekend with it. Of course, he started off the weekend with the Swift chassis, and unfortunately had a spin in turn 4 and damaged that car too badly to continue for the rest of the weekend. So it's back to the Lola, and that does not have the latest updates on it. And poor old Richie's had a torrid time. It's a great shame. Local sponsors here, Ralph's Food for Less, and actually Richie coming into the pits right now.
So Richie Hearn comes in, and looking forward to racing the Swift during the 1998 season. And the new cars will all come out. The Reynards will be hoping to keep their superiority. Certainly the Reynards have done a fantastic job this year in producing a car that has been across the board competitive at all the different racetracks, and with a variety of different teams as well. We're riding on board with Gilles de Ferran in second position. This is one of the Reynards that's been doing so well this year, ending up finishing in second place in the championship. But there's no doubt that the boys from Bicester will have their work cut out next year in beating off the challenge from the new Penske being designed by John Travis down in Poole in Dorset, and from the revised Swift that will be brought out next year as well, the car that took its debut win at Homestead earlier on this year, and which has proved a competitive proposition on many occasions, but too many problems, too many niggling faults. But I guess with a new car, that's not such a big surprise. In fact, just talking of the Swift, there we are. There's Christian coming into the pits now, and Christian running in 6th position before making this stop. You can see the whole head going as it stutters in on the speed limiter, and Guy Hobbs is actually right down there, so let's join you, Guy.
Yeah, we're down in the Christian Fittipaldi pit. They're going to give it a half-turn front wing when he comes in. The crew go to work putting 35 gallons of methanol on, new tyres. I'm going to take a quick look at the Goodyears that are coming off. The left rear looks okay. The right rear actually looks okay. No signs of a blister. And Christian Fittipaldi is back out and running.
So, good stop from Fittipaldi. The only Newman Haas car left in this race after overheating troubles took Michael out of the race. Into the pits comes the
race leader, Andre Ribeiro, for stop number 5. This will from number 4 for Andre Ribeiro. 161 laps in the books. Behind him comes also into the pits Jimmy Vasser, which means that Gilles de Ferran will take over the leadership.
So Ribeiro, the Tasman crew, going to work on this one and try and see those tyres. It looked okay. We didn't see any signs of blistering, particularly on that one. Several more cars coming into the pits as well. Ribeiro gets going, no stalling, bit of wheel spin coming out, and Ribeiro gets away cleanly. One of the Brahma cars stopping behind him, Jimmy Vasser. There he is, right down at the far end of the pit lane. So you'll probably see Andre Ribeiro come past you. There you are, from the onboard camera. Vasser now waiting for the all-clear signal from the crew member at the front, and away he goes, and he can get straight back onto full acceleration virtually.
And meanwhile, into the pits is Gilles de Ferran, the race leader. 163 laps now for the race leader, Gilles de Ferran. He comes into the Walker Racing pit.
And Guy is right there with him.
The race leader, Gilles de Ferran, brings his car in. The crew goes to work here, changing all 4 tyres once again. And they are putting 35 gallons of methanol, make a quick adjustment on the front, clean out the radiators to try and get as much air in there. And the right rear Goodyear tyre once again doesn't seem to have much blistering on. And no problems with the jackback time.
Good news. So Gilles de Ferran gets out cleanly and safely, as Bobby Rahal also making his stop. He gets going once more, and Gilles de Ferran has come back out onto the circuit, and the battle will continue between him and Andre Ribeiro, the two Brazilians who are up front so far in this race. We've only had one Brazilian winner so far this year, Maurizio Gugelmin. These two are hoping to make it a second Brazilian win today.